Happy October, ladies and gents. It is officially spooky season, and week number 6 of the SEC football season is officially here. I am Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. This is the Overtime Drive for the first time this season, live on a Wednesday night. How ironic, again, it is Wednesday, October the 1st. We are kicking off the month of October in style. Again, talking all things Week 6. We're talking best bets. We're talking pick 'em. We're talking preview. We're talking a little bit of everything. Taking your questions, your comments. It is going to be an electric night. And again, we appreciate you all being in the saddle with us here on the Overtime Drive. As always, guys, when we get going, make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button. We appreciate each and every single one of you helping us eclipse 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. But the race to 30,000 is now officially on. We can't do it without your love and support. And again, we appreciate every single one of you. Also, make sure you check out our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we're brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. It is Wednesday, October the 1st. This is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered, SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. I'm Chris Phillips. He is Cole the Bear Thompson. And we are talking all things Week 6 here on this Wednesday night. Preview, predictions, best bets, you name it. And, of course, we're taking your questions and your comments. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. Really excited to discuss all of this with you. We've got a little bit of a lighter slate, but a fun Week 6 ahead, no doubt.
No, Miss Terry's bathwater, you are not allowed to see my nipples. What are we starting off the show with? My goodness, man. I mean, come on. Like, at least can I
love how they assume they know it's you were late. I
exactly.
love that.
Like, why
they don't even make the assumption it was me.
Here? That's what I wonder about all the time. It's never, like, there's been multiple times I've been in here on time, and then Chris has been showing up late. But no, I'm the one that has to show the nipple. Come, please, let's get on with the show.
I mean, hey, what's fair is fair. Shout out to those already in the comments, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, obviously for those live, those listening via podcast. We appreciate each and every single one of you guys as well. I see Mizzou Shane. What's going on? MIZ, of course, Miss Terry's Bathwaters, who've already highlighted. Hilton's in here. Says, Oi, Hail State. Hail State early in the chat. P5, Caldry, ZOU, Mizzou Shane. Need a breakdown of Mizzou's bye week if we can. Sure, we'll get to it. Rick just says, gig 'em. What's going on, Starch Manning? We got some Texas love in here. And P5 Caldry, where are y'all headed this week for games? We are actually headed down to, for those watching, right here, Gainesville, Florida, home of the Florida Gators. Florida and Texas on the docket this weekend. Yours truly will be heading out early, bright and early, first thing in the morning. By the way, shameless plug to all you Texas fans out there that listen to ESPN Austin. I will be on there at 8:10 a.m. Central talking about said Florida and Texas game. Also, I do want to shout out, Bear, our friends over at the Vol Bros podcast, making me an honorary bro. Had me on the show. I appreciate it. Got the shirt in the mail today. Figured let's rock it on the show. So shout out to the Vol Bros. They do a great job talking all things Tennessee. And again, I am an honorary bro now, Cole. So maybe one of these days you'll be able to join the esteemed club. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll never know. I appreciate it. I hope so. I mean, that's
meanwhile, Bear's just over here eating peppers and drinking apple cider and showing nipple and whatever. I don't know what else the Bear's. I don't know what he's doing.
There's a lot of things I'm doing. There's a lot of things that I need to do. There's a lot of things I would need the chat do at some point. But no, honorary bro will be on the list of chores that I have lined on up at some point.
No doubt. Bro, I could just start pulling stuff off my desk, Bear. People ask, who's he biased to? Who's a fan of? Look at this. I got the Oklahoma stuff from the OU trip. Bear, I might just send you this. I've got the Saturdays are better in Como pin. I mean, we got it all, man. It's all in here.
Here's the thing, man. If you guys send me any free stuff, I will wear it on the show. I gladly will. You guys send me any gear for your team, I gladly will represent it. I need a new wardrobe. Like, to be completely honest, half of my clothes are still from college, and I just don't have the money or the funds that I want to go out to ever spend on clothes. So you give me free stuff, I always represent it. I always wear it proudly.
Somebody send Bear one of those little doggy sweaters. He'll throw it on one of his pups out there.
You think I won't? I do it every year with Paisley. She dresses on up. I promise. I'm a medium, and I'll send you the address when we get the time. I'll leave my email in the description.
Yeah,
for
we don't need to be sharing addresses in the chat.
I will send you my address via email, P5 Crowdy, but I won't do it on here. I can send you an email after the show.
Yeah, we don't need mad Aggies showing up to the house that Bear built and voicing their displeasure.
Yeah, speaking of which, mad Aggies suck, by the way. I'm sorry. You do. Every single one of you do who are mad at me for I don't care though.
Hey, like Jordan Hayes says, hit that like button. Appreciate you, Jordan. Definitely hit that like, that share, that subscribe, everything in between. That being said, Bear, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Guys, again, if you are wondering, you're like, what in the world's going on? They're live on Wednesday. This is not my normal Monday or Thursday. That is because the overtime drive, we are condensing and combining what we did on Monday and Thursday into one big Wednesday show, which I, for one, I know Bear is as well, really excited about it. Again, anytime we can work a little bit more efficiently and I think bring you guys a more clear, concise product, we're going to do that. That's exactly what we're doing here. So you're not losing on any content. It's all now just in one big show. We're going to talk best bets. We're going to preview the games. We're going to pick the games, and we're going to take your questions and your comments as well. Bear, that being said, let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's pull up. So normally we don't have the best bets graphic for the show. Now that we waited till Wednesday, we do. So without further ado, let's pull it up. Our best bets for week number 6. Bear's whooping my tail right now. 16-9. If you're tailing the Bear, you are doing very, very well. You are profiting at a high level.
We've yet to have a losing week on my end.
Yeah, I'm struggling. 13-12. It's tough sledding. I'm floating right at that 500 mark, but it's okay. Hey, better than a losing record, but means there's a lot of pressure on yours truly to stay above 500. So, Bear, we'll go back and forth as we normally do. I will let you start since you are in the lead. Your first pick, sir. Go right ahead.
I just think that you go out to Athens, Georgia. It's going to be, I think, a low-scoring game. It's always a rock fight for some reason between what we got, Kentucky and Georgia. I think that Georgia's going to win. I think that Georgia's going to show more life offensively than what we've seen in weeks past. I think that you will see once again them be able to come on out swinging. They're going to set the tone in this game. My main fault here is that I just don't think Kentucky's going to be able to score efficiently. And the thing that we know about Kirby Smart, he doesn't run up the score on anybody. I mean, they bit the under on both the Marshall game and the Austin Peay game. So when you consider that Kentucky, again, with how much of this is going to be, I think, a game that has a couple of lull moments, a couple of 3-and-out drives on both sides, it's something to where I think this is going to be 31-6, something in those lines. I think the under plays. If you want to be bold like Chris and take actually one of the lines, that's fine. But I just look at more so 50 total points. You're not going to get that. I just don't see a scenario where it's going to be something like a 31-21 game. I think we're talking more so like a 31-10, 31-6 kind of feel.
And Bear, I love that pick. Admittedly, I'm looking at it right now. Georgia in this matchup. Let's see. Let me get back to it. Georgia is still at 20.5. The over-under is still 48.5. I'm actually logged into FanDuel right now. I might be making some plays while we're doing this. I'm going to tail you on the under 48.5. It's not on my official card. I am taking Georgia minus 20.5. I feel bad for Kentucky. I think the Dogs are going to dominate this game. I see somebody in the comments saying Georgia's not going to cover the 20.5. I disagree. I think Georgia is going to cover that number. Again, I think they're going to take out some frustration on the Cats for what happened last weekend against Alabama. I think the passing game's going to – I think Georgia will be able to do whatever they want. I think defensively, I don't think Kentucky's scoring 10 points in this game. I really don't. By the way,
I was going to say, just Rick in the comments section. My goodness,
Rick just dropped the hammer, a $100 super chat from a happy Aggie. There's many things I'd have predicted on this show, Bear. Getting that comment was not one, but from a happy Aggie, I recommend a Rowback Black hoodie. Beat the hell out of State. I enjoy the show. Rick, we enjoy you, my friend. Thank you for watching, despite Bear being a doom and gloomer, as Mike Elko would say.
Yes, I am exactly the type of media that Mike Elko hates, and thankfully I'm not going to be in College Station to go ahead and face the music afterwards. We had a nice little chit-chat, though. He's forgiven me in all of my endeavors of Dalton, Texas A&M at this point.
Yes, Rick, thank you very much. By the way, Bryce Carroll says fade all of these. Hey, listen, tail it, fade it. That's your risk you got to take. Lee says that Georgia's not going to cover the 20.5. I say that they are. I think Georgia wins this game by 3 touchdowns. If it was 21.5, I don't know that I would touch it. 20.5, I feel good taking the dogs.
Yep. I have no problem with that. Let's go down to Gainesville, the game that we're going to be at for SEC Unfiltered. I think Texas's offense finds a little bit of life. I think that they are going to see that spark come on back. I think the other thing that's really important here, and I'll get to in a minute, is that Vegas is trying to make you bet the low because of how bad these both offenses have been. They rank outside the top 100 in almost every single metric going into this game. What's really interesting is that neither one of these teams is good on third down. I think that that's going to tell the story of this matchup. Whoever is more efficient on third down execution, they're going to walk away with the win. I have more faith in what is the overall offensive identity of Texas. Although I will say, when we recorded the preview, we didn't have the understanding of Dallas Wilson playing in this game. So Dallas Wilson now being a factor alongside Vernell Brown has me making another change. I'm going to take Texas with the -6.5. I do think that they win by a touchdown. I get something along the lines of 34 to 24, so 10-point swing, which means I'm also going to throw down a little bit more money on Chris's other bet, which is the over at 42.5. This feels like one of those breakout games. We've heard Billy Napier, DJ Lagway talking about going into this week. They feel like that the offense is going to find its spark. I think both teams end up having a little bit of a spark offensively, and that both defenses get tested. One team, I think, has one more turnover, and ultimately that's what leads to a Texas victory.
Yeah, it's interesting, Bear, with this game. I didn't feel comfortable going either way with the spread. It almost feels like not calling you a sucker, but it feels like a little bit of a sucker bet from Vegas where it's like they're even giving you, not having the hook. They're giving you 6.5. It's not like it's 7.5. If you like the total, Bear, it's down to 41.5 now. I agree with you. I think both sides, all we've heard about is porous quarterback play. Both defenses are really good. Don't get me wrong, but we've heard about how bad the quarterback play is. I think coming off the bye week, both of these offenses have their quote-unquote breakout performances, play much better. Even if it's a 27-20 game, 24-20, we're still cashing on the over. I love the over in this ball game. I agree with you. Breakout performances on both sides. Like, both of these quarterbacks are just too talented to keep playing as poorly as they have. You'd have to imagine if they're going to put their best foot forward, it is going to come out of the bye week. So I like the over in the game.
To me, it just feels like, again, there's too much of an opportunity to where you can trust the rushing attack of what Florida has. I've seen in the comment section, I 100% also agree that you're going to have to utilize Jaden Baugh. And that's easier said than done going up against this defensive line. But it doesn't matter. You have to run the football. And at some point, you kind of got to throw out what logic says and just go with your best player. You are in win now mode from here on out. You're going to have to be everyone's best punch. You're going to have to outdo yourself in the week before. So I just think that this is going to be a game where you can maybe see Arch find success through the air. Jack injuries. What are we going to get from guys like maybe an Emmett Mosley playing? And maybe I will. Hang on a second. I'll get to that in a second. I do think that right now it's going to be a high-scoring game. Like, I have more faith that it's going to be a high-scoring game for sure.
Bear, I'm going to go next now since you just went on a little rant on my pick. Because you and I both have the same thing, so we can expand on this. Diego Pavia, I'm believing in you. I am choosing to believe in you. It is so easy to sit back and I think, Bear, fade Vandy in this spot. But you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not picking you to win, but I'm going to trust Diego Pavia and this Vanderbilt team to go into Tuscaloosa and cover 10.5. I've got it. You've got it. America is pulling for it. I mean, if you're not a Bama fan, I think you're pulling for Vandy to get this win. You and I both going doors plus 10.5. This one's going to be very interesting, Bear. This is the prove it moment for Clark Lee and the boys.
It's a very disrespectful line, in my opinion. Like it is. I think that Alabama, as good as they are, until we see them actually show up against a team like Vanderbilt, you got to give at least a little bit of respect to them. Now, I'm not saying that again. I think the difference in this game from last season is having a quarterback that's going to be more efficient with holding the football in Ty Simpson. Simpson this year has been so perfect when it comes to the turnover ratio, which was the downfall at times last season in that Vanderbilt game. You had the big interception, you had the fumble. If those 2 turnovers don't happen, Alabama survives the scare, but they survive. And then they're sitting at 10-2 and they're in the college football playoff. There's no evidence at this point to believe that Ty Simpson's going to turn the football over. But the thing is that we also got to give a lot of credit. Diego Pavia on this offense for Vanderbilt, they're not afraid to take shots. Like, they are explosive downfield. They are letting it fly, and they're better at wide receiver than a season ago. Trey Richardson has been awesome up to this point. You also got to throw back in what you get with Eli Stowers. You got to feel pretty good about where you are with Richie Hoskins. Like, there's a lot to like about this overall offensive identity, and they still can run the football efficiently, not just with the quarterback, but with multiple players. I mean, they got Micklin Young, who is a walk-on that came on in and has been a godsend for this rushing attack. So I think Alabama's going to win this football game. I think Alabama's going to make this a 4-quarter battle. I think they're going to show why that this is a new era underneath Kalen DeBoer. But I'm not going to disrespect Diego Pavia like that. I think it's wrong that we even go ahead and put him in that conversation. You know what I can see this game looking a lot like, though? Remember last season out in Nashville when it was 27 to, what was it, 10? It was 27 to 10, I think, Texas versus Vanderbilt. And then Vanderbilt found their way to come back in. It was, 30 to 27 final score. Like, I could see Diego Pavia coming with a, full-on comeback and making this almost too close for comfort. Backdoor cover hits. They go into the fourth quarter. They need that big turnover. They don't get it. But ultimately, all we care about at this point is the 10.5 going to hit. And I think 10.5's easily going to hit in that game. 11 points is far too rich.
You know what they say, Bear? Good teams win. Great teams like this one right here, they cover. Come on, Diego. Come on. All we need you to do is cover.
We just need 11
Damn
points.
it.
We just need you to lose by less than 11 points. That's all we're asking for. If you can do that, you're a victor in our eyes.
Do it for the boys in Nashville. I couldn't help myself but go grab that helmet. Shout out my guy Steve, who's on staff, by the way. I'm happy for you, Steve. Yeah, Vandy plus 10.5. Cannot wait to watch that game on Saturday. Bear, let's go to this next one. I'll let you start. We're both in the same game. Both had different picks here.
Michael Hawkins, I think, is going to be a fine
This pick, by the way, shocked me from you. Shocked me.
It's okay. I think Michael Hawkins is going to be a great quarterback. I do. I'm actually buying a lot more when you hear things coming out of camp and how well that he has looked running Ben Arbuckle's system, that you're going to see similar results that are promising for Oklahoma to not miss a beat. My thing is 45.5 points with a quarterback making his first start of the regular season. It's just too rich. It's far too rich for my liking. I think at this point, you're not trying to show up everything also when it comes to Michael Hawkins. Because what do you have next week? You got Red River. And depending on what we know about the status of John Mateer, if he is able to even come back and start practicing next week, you're probably going into this game with Michael Hawkins as your starting quarterback. So you don't want to show everything against Kent State. You'd rather save some of it, leave it behind, and wait to unveil it when you get to Dallas and you take on Texas in the Cotton Bowl. Because at least then, maybe you can catch Texas slipping a little bit. So I think that the Golden Flashes, as bad as a team as they are, they're horrendous this year. They've done a pretty good job of at least making games go interesting when it comes to the betting odds of things. So I'm going to ride it with Kent State. I think if they cover the 45.5. I don't think that they're going to even come close to winning this game, but I could see something along the lines of 38-6, 41-10. Like just something random to where they get a late touchdown against the third team defense. Backdoor cover hits at the right time. 45.5 is a lot. It's asking for far too much, in my opinion.
Bear, I'm going to go the under in this ball game, 53.5, Oklahoma, Kent State. I don't, again, like you said, Michael Hawkins, who I don't think will have any problem shredding Kent State. I think the emphasis and the focus in this game will be on getting the conventional running game going. I think that they're just going to try to ground and pound. Our guy Travis Davidson of the Ref, we had a great conversation with him. We got the Oklahoma fans in here. Highly suggest you check out the conversation. He mentioned that Jaden Ott has had a really good week of practice, supposedly. So I'm assuming they're going to give him every opportunity to finally have a breakout performance for the Sooners and just get the running game going, because that's the part of the offense that has to shore up the most without John Mateer. You and I would agree. He would agree. He literally said it firsthand in our conversation. So I think it's going to be a lot of ground and pound. I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma didn't allow Kent State, not in the end zone, but maybe they may not even cross the 50 multiple times. I mean, they might get across like once or twice, but it's going to be pure domination. Kent State is arguably the worst team in college football. Yeah, I like the under. The only thing I'll say about your plus 45.5 Bears, like you're just clinging to dear life. That it's like, just don't suck 46-point beatdown suck.
Yeah.
You do suck. Just don't get beat by 46.
Look, all I'm asking.
I mean, it very well could be like a 35-0 game. It wouldn't shock me.
Here, let's go through Kent State real fast, how their season has gone so far. Because it hasn't been pretty. We can all agree it has not been pretty. They currently are sitting at 1-3. But it was 21-17 against Merrimack. It was 31-28 loss to Buffalo. It was 66-10 loss to Florida State. And it was 62-14 loss to Texas Tech. So they've already faced off against 2 top 25 teams. The thing is, the spreads in those games, actually, one of them was a win. It wasn't the Florida State game, but the Texas Tech game was a win. The spread was at 52.5, and Texas Tech couldn't find a way to cover. So it's a brand new quarterback. You've already talked about it. They're going to try to figure out what's going on in the rushing attack. And I just think that you're going to get one touchdown. If you can score on Florida State and you can score on Texas Tech, you should be able to at least put up one touchdown against Oklahoma's third-team defense late in the fourth quarter. And so that just needs to be 45 points. That's all I'm asking for. Golden Flashes, you can at least make this a 4-quarter game to where I'm looking at the scoreboard and saying, look at that. That 45, I always knew the Golden Flashes were going to be good for a banking. They were always going to be good for me to go ahead and cash on it at some point.
When they lose 45-0, Bear will be setting off a confetti and throwing a parade for the Golden.
Believe me, there's an episode of South Park, I'll never forget it, where Jimbo is betting on Stan and the boys' team, and they're betting on them to beat the spread. And Stan comes on in after missing the entire first half of the game, and he throws one touchdown pass, and the spread is like 63.5, and so they end up only losing by 62, and the entire town celebrates like they just won the freaking Super Bowl. If the 45.5 points hit, I am going to be celebrating. I'm going to donate to one random fan. Go ahead and like the video, hit the ring notification, subscribe to the channel. Show us that you got 10 subscribers to go ahead and connect with us. I'm going to send you $100 simply because if I cashed it on this bet, if the 45.5 hits. That gives you a reason to go ahead and just sign on up today. Join the channel, join the community.
Yeah, come on with it. Bear, let's go to our last game. You and I both are on the same pick for our 5th and final picks for this week. And again, guys, this is why you tune in. We're adding things to our card. Because I'll tell you this, Bear, before we get into each of our reasoning of why we're going to who we're going with, it is the Texas A&M Mississippi State game. I'm curious your thoughts. I low-key may add the over 55.5 to this game.
I think the over's going to hit. I
mean, I almost think Mississippi State's a team you kind of have to take the over in their games. I mean, at this point, like they're better defensively, but if they beat A&M, I don't see it being a 20-17 game. I just don't see it, dude. They're going to have to score 30 plus at minimum, probably like 35 plus.
Who do you think benefits more in a low scoring game, Mississippi State or Texas A&M?
Oh, I think A&M for sure.
I think A&M because we've seen them win a low scoring game.
Yeah.
Even with the offense putting up over 400 plus yards and having more passing yards and rushing yards. You can take out one half of it than Auburn had last week. And that's what we're saying. So yeah. A low-scoring game, I think, absolutely favors Texas A&M.
And that's not even our pick, by the way. It's just it's a lean. It's a lean that I probably will sprinkle a little on over 55.5. Bear liked as well. But our pick for this one, Mississippi State plus 14.5. We are both going with the dogs. And let me say this, because our guy Rick, so generous. Thank you, Rick. Right. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. And I want Rick to know that when I say Mississippi State plus 14.5 is disrespectful and it's probably my best bet of the weekend, it's not doubting A&M necessarily. It's not like a dissing A&M. But, my God, where is the respect for Jeff Lebby and the boys at? 14.5 to me, Bear, feels crazy. That feels like so much in this game. I mean, if I'll tell you this, if A&M wins this game by more than 14, they really might be the best team in the conference. Like, they might be, like, I don't want to say playoff lock, but on a street paved to gold to the college football playoff. I mean, because, like, that will say a lot to me of, like, holy smokes. Like, they are, that's a butt whooping. They win this game by more than 14. So I love the plus 14.5. I know you really love it. But, yeah, I think it's way too much.
I know there's been injuries to Mississippi State. I know you got some questions when it comes to the offensive line in this matchup. My big thing is that if you can run the football efficiently and get to the second and third level of A&M's defense, you're going to be a multifaceted team that can probably score often and make this such a close game. And so to me, it's no disrespect to Texas A&M. A loss in this game doesn't deteriorate what I thought you. I still think that you would end up being considered one of the top 6 or 7 teams in the SEC. Certainly still could make the college football playoff because of where your schedule goes after this matchup. It just, to me, shows that even though we think that Mississippi State has turned the corner, we're not giving them enough love. And that's far too big of a lie. Like, if you told me that there was a 3-point swing added much in because of just the home field advantage. They're playing at Kyle Field. They're playing at 6:30 at night. It's a blackout game. Okay, I can understand that. I still would say the line needs to be around 10.5. Like, that to me feels like where the fairness is. But when you go past 2 touchdowns after what we saw happen against Arizona State, and then what we saw last weekend where you capitalized on 2 turnovers by Joey Aguilar and got points on the board, that to me is far too rich. It's a line to where even if Texas A&M is to win this game, I think they win by less than double digits. And maybe that's me down a lot more of A&M, but I just feel like right now, until I see them be able to put belt to ass consistently, it's a lot easier to see a big line and go, I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic when it comes to their future.
Yeah, you and I both like dogs plus 14.5 a lot. You like it a lot. More on that in just a moment. Guys, again, of course, these are our best bets presented to you by our friends at FanDuel. And speaking of that, let me tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, FanDuel, lead partners of SEC Unfiltered, and FanDuel's got you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, pick a bet, get $5. And if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel's got you covered. The NFL season is here. The MLB playoffs are here. College football's in full swing. Hey, NHL and NBA are around the corner. Everything in between. College basketball is here in a month, if you can believe that or not. So make sure, the question is, are you ready to play? Make sure you visit FanDuel.com/SECU to download the FanDuel app today. Get started once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. Bear, you believe that? We're a month away from basketball.
That's weird. It's weird. You know what we are, though? And this is me kind of geeking out, and I know that I'm alone on this one. We are 5 days away from the start of the NHL season.
Bear, you think I don't know that? I live in a city with an NHL team now.
I say now you get to go to Predators.
Dude, the Predators have a game, a home game next Thursday night that I think I might be going to.
You got to go to it. Bridgestone Arena.
I've been to one NHL game, and it was Buffalo Sabres and Ottawa. What are they?
Senators.
Ottawa Senators in Buffalo. Back in 2017. And it was a blast. Absolute blast. So
I hate the fact that I have to go to American Airlines Arena in Dallas to go see a game. Like that's just, to me, I freaking hate that I gotta go. And it's usually I go and watch the Blackhawks play because that's the team that I grew up rooting for. And it's like they are so bad right now. I'm paying to go watch a team look pathetically awful. And I'm not even able to do it in my own city and then drive home. I got to drive home afterwards and sit in a factory of sadness right now.
Bear, our guy Dylan Baskins, $5 shoe chat. Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate the love. He says, love the show, guys. It's right up there with the Josh Pate show for me. But, Chris, because you picked LSU last week, it is Trinidaddy to you from now on. I'm not calling him that.
Yes, you are. You are definitely calling Dylan.
I'm really not. I will not be calling any other man daddy. So that I will show all the love and respect and praise on Trinidad Chambliss. I will not be calling him that nickname, but I understand the sentiment. I was dead wrong. I should have never put more trust in Brian Kelly and Garrett Nussmeier than Trinidad Chambliss and Lane Kiffin. That's on me. That's on me.
On you. That is
Shame
on you.
on me. Yeah, Bear tried to tell me.
Everybody who is ever still doubting Trinidad Chambliss, just go ahead and take your L. Sincerely, just go ahead and show up and take your L. That's all I care about.
Miss Terry's Bathwater says, in my opinion, they're better, speaking of other shows, because Cole follows through on punishments.
Listen, if Miss Terry wants to go ahead and send the $99.99 right now, I'll do the rest of the show without my shirt on.
I imagine Miss Terry is like some college dude. That has to
be. I think so.
Has to be.
I have a feeling that I know that they're a Vols fan. That's number one. So
right.
we're starting to figure out
who knows. It might be one of my buddies in Nashville that's a Tennessee fan. I have no idea.
It could be a random person at Alabama who just grew up being a Tennessee fan. We don't know because again, Miss Terry's Bathwater. But Terry, you know the rule. You send the money, I could do it. I will do what I can. I gotta save up for a wedding. I can't donate right now. See.
Says also great opportunity to watch the Kennesaw State Owls. When do they play?
Tomorrow, I believe.
Do they play tomorrow?
I think so. Or Tuesday next week. I think next week it's the week.
We do start getting
next week.
Wow,
yeah.
Good call.
Next week we start. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday games.
What a blessing! If you thought my gambling was bad, right now, it's going to ramp up.
One
more side note, babe, before we get into now you got me thinking about these weekday games. Before we get into our pick 'em here, we're going to go through every game, obviously give our previews, predictions, all that good stuff. You know, it's crazy. Like tomorrow, we've got Sam Houston and New Mexico State. We used to get elite Thursday night games, and now that is just like gone from college football. It's gone. Our guy Rick doing the Lord's work, $19.99 super chat. Thank you. He says to keep the shirt on, please. Thank you, Rick.
I'm gonna take it off, Rick. Don't worry.
Rick, thank you, Rick. Hey, thank you, Rick. You're doing the Lord's work with that one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick. All right, it's that time. Week 6 is officially here. It's a lighter slate than normal. Doesn't mean it's not going to be one hell of a slate. It's going to be an epic weekend yet again, and we are here locking in our picks. Our predictions. This is pick 'em on the overtime drive. Here we go. All right. Our weekly picks. Those aren't it. Here they are. SEC Unfiltered. Pick 'em on the overtime drive. Myself, Bear. I am leading the way at 53-8. Bear with a perfect week last week catches up 52-9. He's still down there. I'm wondering how the weather is where Bear is down there.
Yeah.
He's still just a game below, but he has caught up. So things are starting to heat up in our pick 'em. That being said, let's go through it game by game, guys. If you want a full breakdown, preview, prediction, all that good stuff, all of these games outside of Oklahoma, Kent State, admittedly, but we did have another conversation to substitute for that. Again, all the breakdowns, though, we have done earlier in the week. Highly encourage you go check those out. And again, we appreciate you guys running up the numbers on those already to this point. That being said, Bear, let's dive into it. A little boring from us until we get to the final game, but that's okay. It is what it is. The slate is what the slate is. Let's start with the first game, Georgia, Kentucky in Athens. Like we already mentioned, Georgia is a 20.5-point favorite in this game. Kentucky is looking for their first SEC win, losses to Ole Miss and at South Carolina last week. Georgia obviously is coming off the tough one against Alabama. But not surprisingly, you and I both going with the Dogs to bounce back in a big way and get the win.
You and I are a little bit different on how we think this game is going to go. I think it's going to be a rock fight. I could see a scenario where Kentucky does actually cover the 20.5-point spread. If anything, I just think the under is going to hit. I know that this has always been a game that feels like when it comes down to Kirby and Mark Stoops, there's a giant amount of respect for each other. They don't like to run up the score, and it's physical up until the final punch. But I just think that Georgia right now, we've seen enough from the offense to believe things are different. Things have trended in the right direction. There's a lot of stock buy-in. And then losing to Alabama, that's just become the nature of what is Kirby Smart, unfortunately. And really just the nature of Georgia. It's also the nature of Georgia to be able to handle business against Kentucky year in and year out. I just look at what Kentucky is offensively right now. They can run the football. but they're so one-dimensional. If you ask Carter Bully to have to win through the air, it's not going to be promising. It's going to lead to some turnovers. We saw how bad the offensive line was last week protecting him against South Carolina. I just think Georgia's going to be able to pull this one out, especially because it's an 11 a.m. kick, and it's also going to be in Athens. Like, it's not in Lexington to where you can have the atmosphere maybe alter the game path. There would have to be a lot of mistakes, a lot of injuries, and a lot of takeaways, I think, for Kentucky to be able to go on in there and make this a game.
Bear, there is a narrative, and I understand to a degree where it comes from, but there's a narrative that, and it will be a physical ball game, by the way. That's not like a false narrative, but that every year this game is super close and down to the wire, and Kentucky just gives Georgia all these problems. First off, Georgia's won 15 in a row in the series, by the way, dating all the way back to 2010. Folks, I was in college. That was a long time ago. Bear was not even in college. That was high school Bear, I believe.
It was.
So that was a long time ago, the last time Kentucky beat Georgia. The games in Lexington, Bear, have been close. These are the games in Athens since Kirby got there. Starting in 2017, 42-13, 21-0, 30-13, and 51-13. So the games are close in Lexington for whatever reason. Not so much in Athens. I think Georgia, that's one of the reasons I picked them to cover. I think they're going to roll in this game. Like I said, I think they're going to take out some frustration from the Bama game on Kentucky, and I think they will get off to a quicker start because, my God, if they don't, I don't know if they ever will be able to against anybody, right? Yeah. They've had slow starts all season. If I look up and see Kentucky up like 10-0, I mean, I'm just going to – I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. But either way, you and I – both going Georgia, getting the win over Kentucky. There's no secret there. I don't think anybody in the country is going as bold as to pick the upset in this game. By the way, our friends over at the Vol Bros, shout out to them. Yes. Feels good to be an honorary bro. I've been giving Cole crap the entire show. That
he has, Vol Bros. Apparently, I got to earn my shirt. So whenever you want me on, guys, I'd love to be able to rock the shirt with you.
Bear just wants a shirt. He just wants a shirt. That's it. He just
included. I don't
bring me onto the show just for the. He wants to be an honorary bro.
Who doesn't want to be an honorary bro? Being a bro is awesome.
You're an honorary frat bro. I mean, you literally were a frat bro.
I was in a fraternity for multiple years. And I have yet to ever go back. I think since that moment. Nah, when I graduated, that was the last time I think I set foot in that house. So I'm no normal Alabama grad. Let's just go with that.
Fair enough. All right, Bear, let's go to the game down in Gainesville that we will be at this weekend. It's Florida. It's Texas down in the swamp. Texas, a 6.5-point favorite in this game. Both these teams coming off of the bye week, interestingly enough. Bear, as I mentioned earlier, actually on the last overtime drive on Sunday night when we announced this is where we were going, I told the people, one of the reasons we are going here. Number one, we don't repeat anywhere we go. So admittedly, I did not want to use this weekend on another location and not be able to go later in the season. But the other reason, Bear, is this might be the Swamp's last hurrah in 2025. Yep. I mean, this is kind of the last. We're going to give you all we got, Gator Nation. If you go out there and get your teeth kicked in, you're probably going to have a tough time drawing a crowd the rest of the way. So I'm hoping to see the Swamp at its peak, win, lose, or draw, or at least as close to its peak as possible. This is such a – I don't even know if it's fair to call it a gut check or a must win. Like, none of that stuff really matters. Florida's got to show up and play well. Texas needs to show up and play well. All the questions around Arch Manning, I think, they're still there from week one. I mean, this is Arch's next opportunity after Ohio State to go against some competition that is somewhat comparable to what he is or what Texas is, and see if he can do it in a game like this. Can he do it on the road in a hostile environment? You and I are both saying yes, because we are both going with Texas to win this football game, both going with the Longhorns.
I think it's also going to have to be one of those things where you trust Arch as much as a mobile threat as possible. Sandman in the comment already told us, but C.J. Baxter's not expected to play with a hamstring injury. The status of other running backs, including Trey Wisner, still very much up in the air, which could be something that you're going to have to monitor. I just think that Texas at this point, they've had a week to be able to take what was a promising offensive showing for the first time this year against Sam Houston use that as a stepping stone into conference play and is going to prevail for the rest of the season. I think that's where we are right now when it comes to Texas. I don't know if I entirely trust what I see from the play calling of Billy Napier. That's really it. If you were to tell me that you lost to LSU and Miami in the same fashion, but you ran it 28 times with Jaden Baugh because if you know that he is your best weapon, maybe I could see a scenario where you turn that into something. I just don't see it. And that's where we are at this point. And that's such a major issue, is that we constantly are watching as Billy Napier and the bad play calling and the inability to connect on third down and going back to the well of having the same type of mental mistakes. That's where it ends up being a major issue, I think, for DJ Lagway. And then Lagway's not able to build any confidence going. So you add that together. As much as I think this is going to be a good defensive game, there's just so many issues that I have right now with Florida's offense to where even if you do get a Vernell Brown, and even though you do get Dallas Wilson involved, Texas has a good defense that is going to be able to win its one-on-one battles, break up a lot of passes, force a lot of 3-and-outs, and it's just going to get the ball right back to Texas. And the other thing I think is really important here is that we don't see many self-inflicting wounds by Texas when it comes to the penalties and the careless ones. We're still seeing day one mistakes by Florida underneath Billy. There was a special team penalty in the USF game. Like, didn't we have this conversation 2 years ago about, hey, let's not worry about that anymore? Come on. Like that's where I'm at when it comes to this team. So I think Texas wins. I think Texas covers.
Yeah, it's really hard impossible to trust Billy Napier and this Florida Gators team. It's a team that just invents new ways to lose, shoots themselves in the foot constantly. We did get a report, by the way, from Sandman. CJ Baxter will be out for this game with a hamstring, so that is something to keep an eye on. I agree with you, though, Bear. I think – here's the thing. I think Florida is going to give you a spirited effort. I really do. But I trust Texas more. I mean, I don't feel great about either one of them. I mean, Bear, I got to be honest with you, and you could tell me how crazy you think this would be. If you told me right now Florida wins, I wouldn't be totally shocked. I'll put it that way. Like, I would not be – I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be totally shocked. I wouldn't.
I would be only shocked. Here's what I would be shocked at. If you told me Florida won because DJ Lagway figured out everything overnight and fixed every issue, that's where I would be shocked. There are just things that he's doing right now that I don't think are correctable. And maybe it's because of who is telling him how to do things. Maybe it's because of the play design. That I would be shocked at. I would not be shocked if you told me Florida won because finally they said, all right, unleash 13. Let's make it pure unlucky. We're going to call him Jason Voorhees from here on out because it's Friday the 13th when 13 is in the backfield and it is a straight up massacre when Jaden Baugh gets the football. But that's it. I mean, if you're telling me that Lagway's going to finally throw for 300-plus yards, find the end zone 4 or 5 times against this defense, as somebody in the comment section said earlier, I can probably sell you great ocean real estate in Arizona. Like, I could easily do that.
Yeah, I trust Arch Manning more to have a big day. And I trust the Texas defense as well to wreak havoc on DJ Lagway. So, again, you and I both going with the Texas Longhorns. Bear, before we get into our next game, I do want to highlight this. As you were reveling in your frat boy days, Miss Terry's Bathwater said, I bet Cole could kill some Four Locos back in the day. And then Carson Everett says, I was witness to Bear back in the day. He wasn't a Four Loco guy.
I was a Four Loco dude in high school. So
Good Lord,
I started the Four Loco trend at 16. So when I got to college, I was out of that stage because
he was Four Locoed out.
Dude, so what we would do, I will never forget. So when we were teenagers, we would go drive up to San Marcos because it's like 2.5, almost 3 hours away from where we lived. And we would go float the river. And we never had anything other than just Four Locos because they were always so cheap and we could get them at the gas station, literally right next to where you go buy the floats. And we would probably have 2 cans. And one of our friends didn't ever want to get in trouble, never want to do anything wrong. So he stayed sober the entire time. He would have to drag us into the tubes, into the car, throw us in the back seat, and get us home that way. And he would, and we literally, I can't even tell you how many times we had to stop over to puke, how many times we had to stop over just to pee. We couldn't go inside anywhere because then they would have known that we were underage. So credit to my friend who will remain anonymous at this point. He is now married, has a lovely child. Congratulations to him and all of his future goals and what he's accomplished. But yeah, when I got to college, I was basically at that point straight up to Natty Light because if I couldn't do Four Locos anymore.
I love it. Sandman, by the way, our resident Texas fan, I feel at this point, says, jokes on all y'all. Sark and Arch have been sandbagging all season. We are finna cook. Guess we'll find out. Bold strategy, Cotton. We'll arch flex on someone this weekend. That's what I'm excited to see. Bear, let's go to the game in Tuscaloosa. College game days in T-Town. Who would have ever thunk it for Alabama and Vanderbilt? Bear, there's already been some chirping going on.
Yep.
There's already a little bit of jabbing back and forth. Diego Pavia, well, he straight up came out Bear and said, hey, if we play our game, it won't even be close, is what he says. Ty Simpson says, hey, we're not going to make that mistake again, talking about losing to the Vanderbilt Commodores. Bear, this one's going to be really, really fun. You and I are both going with Vandy to cover, but we're both going with Alabama to win this game straight. Neither one of us has the stones to go with Vandy walking in a Bryant-Denny and getting the dub. I mean, Diego Pavia, here's your fuel. Here's the fuel to your fire, Diego. Go prove us wrong.
If he wins this football game, I will say he wins the Heisman Trophy. I think that at this point, nothing's going to stop him this year. Nothing. And again, I'm not saying that he's going to turn into this household name that takes on the NFL and becomes a day one pick and transcends a roster. I'm saying that he's going to be a college football legend if he's not already there. But he's on the doorstep of immortality, doing something that is almost impossible to accomplish. And he would be one built alongside Johnny Manziel. The difference to me in this game is not only the home atmosphere and not only the fact that you know what to expect and that you're not sleepwalking into a game against Vanderbilt. It's Ty Simpson. Ty being this quarterback that has yet to have a turnover, put the ball in harm's way, and so fantastically smart when it comes to the decision makings. Every defensive coordinator, if he plays the way that he played on Saturday night in Athens for the rest of the season, you're basically playing prevent at this point. And what I mean is, you're saying, oh, can we hold to under 375 passing yards? Can we hold him to under 2.5 touchdowns? Can we hold him under a passer rating of 198? Because it's going to happen. He's going to get his yards. He's going to get his points. He's going to get his due. You need to be able to have a plan in motion of where you say to yourself, how much can we afford to give up to him before it becomes so far out of reach that our offense doesn't stand a chance? That's the difference from this year and last season. So I think that as much as I would love to say that Diego Pavia is going to be able to make this a 4-quarter game, which I do think he will, and I do think that this is going to be a matchup that goes down to where, kind of like we saw last season with South Carolina, you're at the very end and you're shaking, you're wondering, is this where it all comes crashing down for Kalen DeBoer? It's going to have that same feel. It's just not going to end with a loss. It's going to end with, I think, a close win, a reality gut check, and then your brain has to go immediately turn to fixing those defensive problems that I think at this point are a part of your staff and prepare for what is going to be a well-rested Missouri squad. And you got to go take them on in Columbia at 11 a.m. Where I can tell you what, every Tiger fan out there is freaking pissed as all hell that the SEC said not a good enough game to put in prime time. We're going to throw you in the 11 a.m. spot, and you're going to do nothing but like it.
Bear, if Diego Pavia wins this game, we're talking 30 for 30 material. We're talking his own Netflix special.
Yep.
Potentially, we're talking trophy status. We're talking statue status. Johnny Manziel's on the Vandy sideline in Tuscaloosa, which is just outrageous when you think. I'm sure Theo Vaughn is probably going to be there.
He's going to this game, right?
Huh?
He's got to be going to this game.
Oh, he's got to. Dude, he went to the South Carolina game. You think he's not going to go to Alabama? Of course.
I mean, Diego's mom's going to be there probably, so that could be like their first date.
Of course he will. I mean, but I agree with you. I think Ty Simpson's the difference. I think Alabama being at home, I think they're going to have to score, though. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I do. Because I think Vandy's going to get theirs. You're right. I don't necessarily trust them defensively because Vandy will actually use Pavia in the running game. They will not do what Georgia did with Gunnar Stockton and for whatever reason just not utilize that part of the game. So I think it is a close competitive game. Again, we're both going plus 10.5, but I think Bama gets – here's the thing. I think Bama gets their revenge, but even if the game ends – you said what, 38-31? Was that your final?
I think that my pick was no, it was 38-34.
Okay. I mean, certainly if it ends up at that, but if it's 38-34, if it's a touchdown game, I think we will leave this game, even if they don't win. I think people will have a lot of respect they already should have had, but will have a lot more respect for Vanderbilt of like, all right, this is not some cute story. This is for real. This team is legit. This team is very for real. I think we will leave with that thought. Again, that shouldn't, it unfortunately is because it's Vandy, but I think we'll leave with that, people giving them a lot more credit. But I agree with you. We both agree. Bama's going to find a way to get their revenge, man. It's just, and maybe shame on us that it's still kind of hard to fathom. I mean, Bear, you tell me how much of it, be honest, how much of it is it, because some of it for me, it is just still hard to picture Vanderbilt walking into Bryant-Denny Stadium and getting the win. It's just hard to picture. I'll be totally honest. Shame on me, but it is.
It's not that for me at all. Because of honestly, if you just took away the logo and you brought in, say, Michigan, or you said Illinois, I think a lot more people would say, I have respect for this team. I have so much more thought on what this roster is, how well they play the game. I think at that part, from the national perspective, it is Vanderbilt, and I would agree with that. To me, what this is, it's more so respect to what has changed in the last 12 months since these two met on the field. And largely, it's the offense. Largely, it's you brought back in Ryan Grubb in Tuscaloosa. And I think that to me is where all of your sites immediately go to, is a play caller that got 3 1,000-yard receivers almost when he was at Washington. And you throw in Heisman Trophy finalist quarterback and a national championship appearance, all of that. And now he's working with better players, highly touted recruits, a more stable offensive line, and all these other little tidbits. That to me is the selling point. It has nothing to do with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, I have enough respect for. Here's what I will say. Even if Vanderbilt doesn't win this game, if they make this thing close, look at their schedule. They can go on the road and play against Texas. What is that going to be like? They can go on the road and face off against Tennessee. What is that going to look like? The rest of the games are at home. LSU, Missouri, Auburn, Kentucky. I mean, if they don't leave First Bank and they're showing that they can fight against teams on the road, they got to feel pretty confident about what they're going to look like when they're playing teams at home. And if they beat Alabama, I mean, everybody knows we're getting Vandy's best punch. Time to take them seriously. That's for damn sure.
Bear, I'd almost go as far as say if they beat Alabama, they should be a playoff favorite.
It would be hard to doubt them at that point because Alabama, in my opinion, when their offense is humming, is the most complete offense in the SEC. When it's not, then you have your faults. But you're telling me that LSU is going to be able to trust its rushing attack against this team? Nope. You're telling me that you feel confident that Diego Pavia is not going to put up points against Auburn? Nope. They can't go into Neyland and make this a 4-quarter battle? Nope. Sorry. I mean, like in every single avenue, Vanderbilt would have answered so many questions at this point to where it's so hard to doubt them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying an undefeated season's coming, but I will say they're going to be able to put up some points on somebody, and they will at least be in that 9-win range. I think if they win this game, I think 9 wins is absolutely obtainable, if not better.
Shout out to the Vanderbilt fan in the chat. The Commodore. How about it? if Vandy wins, neither of you should be able to pick against Pavia again.
I mean, I may not after this game. This may be the.
I hear you. Hey, listen, I hear you. I hear you.
I'm not going to be stupid and make a bet because my stomach can't handle that on a Sunday night. It simply can't. But I will do something if Diego Pavia does find a way to win in Tuscaloosa. I will. I'll come up with some type of bet.
The Commodore, it has nothing to do with this game, but I think you will look upon me favorably very, very soon, and I will leave it at that. That's all I'm going to say. So
I know what that means.
Bear, let's go to Norman, Oklahoma, Kent State. Michael Hawkins Jr. is the big storyline here, getting the start for the injured John Mateer. But, of course, you and I both going with the Sooners. I fully expect the defense to dominate. I think Michael Hawkins Jr. will play well. I'm most closely paying attention to, obviously, how he looks, but can Oklahoma run the football conventionally? Can Jade Knott get going? I believe Giovanni Gibson is returning. That's something else they were talking about. That's a big boost for them at the receiver position. But can they run the football with high success against Kent State? Because, I mean, Bear, you have to think if they can't do it against the Golden Flashes, all due respect, you certainly ain't going to do it against Texas. I tell you that right now. So you and I both going Oklahoma, though. I think the Sooners win comfortably. It's just kind of how it looks.
I think that the thing I'm paying most attention to is what are the similarities between John Mateer running Ben Arbuckle's offense and Michael Hawkins running Ben Arbuckle's offense. Because let's say you aren't able to run the football efficiently with anybody in your backfield. But let's say Michael Hawkins looks very similar to how John Mateer plays when it comes to the RPO systems, when it comes to the passing attack, when it comes to the quick strikes, when it comes to the ability to read and react. Those are things to where if I'm going into your matchup next week against Texas, I can still feel comfortable I'm running the same game plan that I was already planning on having in motion when it came with John Mateer. Because if I think that you're going to have to trust the run game at some point, but let's just say that Michael Hawkins shows you that, much like he did last season, he can easily find a way to go ahead and get good yards after contact, and he's able to play through the scrimmage point. I think that that's very beneficial for Oklahoma because you won't have to change up so much going into this game. I do agree with you, though. It is great to have Giovanni Gibson back, and that defense is going to be lights out. I mean, I went on a podcast earlier today, and I said, I truly believe Oklahoma has the best defensive line in college football. Now, maybe not the best defensive player, because right now I'd say Ruben Bain at Miami has that locked up. But if you just told me defensive line with how much depth and how well they play together, it's very hard to find a four-man front that's better than what the Sooners have right now. And I think that, once again, is going to be on display against Golden Flashes. And it's not going to be any flash whatsoever. I just think that, again, plus 45.5 with a brand new quarterback, little egregious, even though it's coming off of the bye week.
Bear, our guy Sandman points out that John Mateer's healthy now. The source, the tortilla presser at Chipotle. Yep. So the John Mateer thing has just been so Dr. Shin and all the gang over there getting John Mateer back on the mend. So game's been shipped ahead of next weekend's Red River Shootout, no doubt. Bear, let's finally go to our final game again. Only 5 games on the docket this weekend of the SEC. A lot of the league with a bye week this week, but a fun one down in College Station. It is a blackout at Kyle Field. They're painting the field black, Bear. I don't know if they've ever done that before, like the end zones and the logo. They are fully committing to this blackout thing. Texas A&M hosting Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State, like we talked earlier. A&M a big favorite, 2-touchdown favorite in this game. I am going with the Aggies. Cole the Bear Thompson is rolling with Mississippi State to walk into Kyle Field and hand Mike Elko and co. their first loss of the season. Bear, I get where you're coming from. I really do. Aggie gonna Aggie until Aggie don't Aggie no mo, right? I mean, I get it. I get it. I'm not bold enough to go there. I respect you being bold enough to go there, but if there is anyone who knows this program, it is you, sir.
I got to see it. I have to see it. That's what this comes down to. I believe that Texas A&M has turned the corner with Mike Elko. I think that Mike Elko is the right coach. I think that Mike Elko is going to take Texas A&M to the college football playoff. I truly do believe that. There are just so many things that I still have questions on with the Aggies, and it's not based off of ranked matchups. It's based off of games to where we start giving a little bit too much love, a little bit too much appreciation, and then they let us down. And I think that, again, if you are Mississippi State, you don't have an elite game plan like you did against Tennessee, because there are still some things I think the Texas A&M does really well defensively. That's going to put you in a position of concern. But I do think that if you're able to force some turnovers like you did against Joey Aguilar and you put it in positive territory, you can walk away with points. I think we also are giving a little bit too much love to Texas A&M and not enough love to Mississippi State for how much they've changed in the offseason in year 2 underneath Jeff Levy. Offensively, they got the weapons that fit the system, especially at the wide receiver spot with Anthony Evans, with what you got in Brennan Thompson. I think that Seydou Traore is not talked about enough as a really good tight end and kind of that security blanket. The running back tandem has been phenomenal with Fluff Bothwell and Davin Booth, and they complement each other so well. I think this is a high-scoring game. I think this is a back-and-forth game. I think there's a lot to like about where Texas A&M is as a program, even with a loss in this game. But at some point, fool me once, shame on me. I fell for the trap before with Jimbo Fisher when they beat Alabama and they were the number 1 team in the country. Let me see it. Let me see you handle business against inferior opponents. Let me see you handle business against teams that you're highly favored over and you don't play around with your food a little bit too much. And I just think that as of right now, it's very hard to prove that because there still are some issues when it comes to the passing attack. Marcel Reed still throws a very interceptable ball. And defensively, if you allow running backs to get into the second and third level, they can torch you. You did a good job of taking away the passing attack last week for Auburn. You did a good job taking away the rushing attack. But I also think that Jeremiah Cobb isn't as talented as a running back as Fluff Bothwell and Davin Booth. And I thought that going into the year. I thought Fluff Bothwell was one of the most slept-on players in college football. And it was kind of funny that he probably would have been much like Ahmad Hardy, gaining a lot more traction if he wasn't splitting carries with someone right now. And there's a lot to like about what he's provided currently down in Starkville. But he's a great running back last season at USA. He could be that again. I think that they're going to drop a game. I don't think that because Sam Pittman's gone at this point, it will be in Arkansas. So I think that this is the one. I don't think you're going to do it against Florida. So you got to do it against somebody. Meet the person that ends up showing you that Texas 8-4 jokes still reside for one reason. You can't show up against a Mississippi State squad, even though I do think the Texas A&M is going to finish the year 9-3.
Miss Terry's bathwater says the 4 losses have to come from somewhere.
Can't come from Notre Dame anymore.
Listen. The argument you just made, Bear, is a very, very, very compelling one. It is. I am still going to go with the Aggies, maybe against my better judgment, but I am going to go with the Aggies to get it done at home. Blackout. I think they'll be able to outlast them and outscore them. I do. I think they'll be able to outscore them. That offense has been so good to this point. I know they weren't great last week. I say that. And they weren't great against Auburn, obviously, but
they still were fine. Like people, they had their issues. They had a lot of penalties, and the self-inflicted wounds are going to be something that you monitor. He still put up over 400 yards of offense. I mean, like that's not a bad day at the office. Just you weren't able to finish drives. That's pretty.
Let's see how much they donate to the Cabo Fund this weekend in College Station. So again, I'm going A&M, Bears going Mississippi State. Guys, those are our picks. Week number 6. Like I said, there's only 5 games this week, 5 opportunities for Bear and I. I guess this week's pick 'em will really come down to who nails that final game, who nails the A&M Mississippi State game. So you and I on opposite sides there. Really interested, really intrigued, guys. Again, make sure you go check out our full previews, predictions, breakdowns of these games that we did earlier in the week on YouTube via podcast. Give you a really great in-depth look at each of these games. And again, we'd love to hear your predictions, your comments on each game in the comments, most certainly. Bear, week number 6 is here, my friend. Guys, leave us your questions, your comments. We'll get some in the closing minutes. Would love to hear from you all. Here we go. By the way, shout out our resident Ohio State
I love that we have an Ohio State
Mr. Bucknuts Florida State or Miami in the ACC? We don't get a lot of questions not SEC related, Bear, so this is a good opportunity. Florida State or Miami? Who do you like this weekend?
I just don't think that Florida State has enough. I want to believe that Florida State's going to make this a 4-quarter game. I think Carson Beck is going to have a good performance. The thing that I will say for Florida State that gives them an advantage, this is the first time that Miami's playing on the road. So Miami being on the road may end up giving you a couple of leeway opportunities. But Miami's just better in the trenches. Miami, I think, has a more physical rushing attack. I think Miami also has better wide receivers. I mean, and they can spread the ball out more. Like, it's Deuce Robinson, and you're waiting for the other shoe to drop at wide receiver too. And you don't have that right now currently in Tallahassee. And I think that you did see a couple of those moments last week out in Charlottesville that make you feel more confident that as good as Florida State can be, they still are a little bit further behind than what we envisioned.
Yeah, I like Miami as well. I would go Miami in that game. So I think the physicality. That's going to be a great game. I will say,
yeah,
it's going to be a great game. Florida State, Miami, back to being one of the best games on the slate. Outside of that, Bear, anything else? Anything else we need to add? Did we miss?
What's your bold prediction of the weekend?
Well, I'll tell you this. That's probably the thing I hate the most about my predictions. My pick specifically, I don't have like a crazy upset. And the way this season has gone would tell you one of these games, at least, will not turn out as we expect, right? Like the underdog is going to win this game. Bold prediction of the weekend. Arch Manning goes over 300.
Really?
Yeah. I think he's going to break out. I do. It's at some point it's got to happen. You got one? You pondering?
Bill Belichick beats Dabo Swinney.
Oh, come on.
No,
come on.
I can't do that.
Jesus.
I can't do that. I wanted to so badly.
Ooh, buddy. I mean, they said they'd never fire Dabo, but oh my God.
I'll tell you the one that actually I do believe in. You know how many people were picking Nebraska to be the breakout team in the Big Ten this year? Yeah. I think Michigan State beats them, and they enter that conversation of being the breakout team. I really like Jonathan Smith. I really like Aiden Childs. They've been working together since their time at Oregon State. The game is going to be played in Lincoln. I think that somehow, some way, we're just going to see Matt Rule not be able to do what everyone thinks in year 3. They're just not going to get the job done.
Being a Nebraska fan's got to be so.
It's got to be really okay.
Be so brutal. So
this is where I come in, and we can end on this. This is where I always come in and talk about, when people bring up the, let's fire Dabo theory. It's the Bo Pelini effect. Mm-hmm. Bo Pelini was not meeting the expectations, and he had some things that were off the field that led to his firing. Nebraska wanted better results than what they were getting with Bo Pelini. And so they decided to hit reset. And since then, they haven't been able to find any bit of footing, whether it be Mike Riley, whether it be Scott Frost, whether it be now Matt Rule coming on in. They've just never been able to figure it all out. And so I always bring up this cautionary tale to say, you can fire a coach because you don't like the results that are happening, but it doesn't always mean the grass is going to be greener with the next guy that comes into the building. There's still going to be some issues that probably are going to hurt you in a lot of different ways. So I understand people being frustrated with Dabo, but Dabo's gotten you to where you are. I'm not saying that he deserves any leeway. What I am saying is it doesn't mean that just because if you hit reset, now you're going to go into the transfer portal and you're going to spend money in NIL, that you're going to be a threat in the ACC. You still could have your fault because Nebraska has spent money. And the only money that has shown up is they've made a bowl game twice in the last 8 years. Sorry. Like, that's a problem. Like, that's a major problem for how much of a high regarded institution that is. I don't see your head coach getting fired this weekend either.
Yeah. Bear, Eli asked, do you think Kentucky will even win a game in conference play? Also, how hot is Stoops' seat? I don't think they will, and I think his seat is I think it's hot, but I don't know if Kentucky's going to be willing to pay to get him out of there. His buyout's crazy.
So I think that Kentucky will pay to get him out of there. Here's the problem. Is Kentucky going to have enough money to pay John Summerall to leave Tulane and come to that program? Because that feels like what they would do. They would go bring back in the pride of Kentucky to be the next head coach. And I don't think they have the funds right now to be able to give him the buyout because number one, Mysterious Bathbar brings us up, it's an immediate payment. So all that money, it's not like we can defer some money here. Nope, it's all going to Mark Stoops right then and there. And that's what makes Kentucky such a great job and why he has such a good freaking, leniency because of it's never going away. It's all right there for the buyout. I don't think that you have enough to be able to land the coach that you want. So then you're settling for underwhelming results. And then at this point, John Summerall, who I do believe is the first and only name that Kentucky would call at this moment, if he ends up winning elsewhere or starts winning down in Tulane and they go to a college football playoff like back-to-back years, and let's say they win a playoff game, do you know how much he is going to demand for his next job? I mean, come on, man. What are we doing here with that? Like, that's where you have the issue. You not only need to save the money to be able to pay the buyout for Mark Stoops, you also need to be able to bring in your next head coach and not have this theory of, we're going to wait 2 or 3 years. Because that's not the way it needs to go.
Mizzou shame, $38 million buyout owed within 60 days. Can you imagine, Bear, getting fired from your job and knowing that within 2 months you were getting $38 million? Yeah. I just like, woo, man, ain't bad. That ain't bad. No. Not at all. Bear, let's go ahead and put a pin in it. I think we're ready to call it. Guys, again, we appreciate you all tuning in. This is so much fun. First Wednesday show of the season, a massive, massive success. Can't say thank you enough. And again, it's going to be an electric weekend, no doubt. We got 5 great games on the docket. I'm sure we'll have some game reactions from Mr. Cole the Bear Thompson over there.
Obviously, we got 2, maybe 3. I haven't decided. Do y'all, let me ask you, do you guys want the reaction for Kentucky, Georgia? Because I'll do the reaction for Kentucky, Georgia. I will do the reaction for Kentucky, Georgia. If you guys say that you want the reaction, you're going to tune on it. If you don't want to tune on it,
I don't think so, Bear, to be honest. I don't think so.
But yeah, we're going to do Alabama, Vanderbilt. We're going to do Texas A&M and Mississippi State.
A&M State's a must after the bold shot. Bold call, if you will. Yeah, going to be a fun weekend again, man. We'll have the game reactions. Bear's going to be doing the happy hour on Friday night at 7 o'clock. And then, of course, Sunday Fun Day, back and rolling. And we'll be in Gainesville, Florida this weekend. So you guys already know content bleeding out of the eyeballs in that regard. And the vlog's rocking. Everything's rocking. We're just doing our thing, man. Y'all know how it rolls. So, again, we appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button. We hit 25,000 subs on YouTube. We really appreciate y'all, but the race is on to not just 30,000, to 40,000, to 50,000, 100,000 and beyond. And we can do it, and we will do it. And it's because of your love and support. Also, check out the show via wherever you get your podcasts. All of the social media platforms we're on, which is every single one of them, and our website, SECUnfiltered.com. Guys, once again, this is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered, SEC Football Show. The best SEC football show on the internet. And for Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. We appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your week. Welcome to week 6. We officially made it to October. Y'all take care. Cheers.